So good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all happy to be here for this very exciting announcement, and thanks to everyone for attending. So I'd like to extend a warm welcome to MP Brian May, of course, MPP Mike Harris Jr., representing the Ontario government, Her Worship, Mayor Sue Foxton, Township of North Dumfries, all staff from the Township of North Dumfries who are hosting this meeting, of course, and members of the media. So to start with, we'll move on to MP May, if you'd like to provide some remarks from the Government of Canada.
Thank you very much, Dane. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here virtually with all of you to share in this great announcement for North Dumfries. Thank you to everyone who is able to join us here today and virtually on live. As we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Neutral peoples. 1 year ago, Canadians adapted to the COVID-19 pandemic in a variety of ways. Since then, we've been learning to manage the new realities we find ourselves in. Our communities right across Canada need help, and we are continuing to support them. All levels of government across Canada have been working to protect lives, support communities, create jobs, and get people back to normal as soon as possible. That is why this funding announcement is very welcome news today. It supports our community in getting back outside with critical recreation facilities. I'm pleased to announce the federal support for 3 projects in the Township of North Dumfries: the Victoria, Cowan, and Schmidt Park washroom rehabilitation, the Victoria and Schmidt Park ball diamond and lighting upgrades, and the creation of 3 tennis courts at Schmidt Park with overhead lighting, netting, equipment, and fencing. These investments are being made through the Community, Culture, and Recreation Infrastructure stream of the Investing in Canada plan. The total federal contribution for these projects will be more than $525,000. I know that there's a great deal of desire for more outdoor recreation.
Yes.
Excellent. So I know that there is a great desire for more outdoor recreation, and I'm happy that members in our community will be spending time in these upgraded spaces. Investing in projects like these are an essential part of providing communities with more opportunities to connect, express themselves, and support one another. It's also a reminder that we will soon be able to join each other in these outdoor spaces. This investment also brings work to our local economy and will make our community even more beautiful. The Government of Canada is working very closely with municipalities, provinces, other partners and stakeholders to get projects like this built quickly, projects that make a positive difference in the lives of Canadians. And I cannot wait to see these projects completed. Thank you, Sue and your team and everyone at North Dumfries for this great announcement today.
Wonderful. Thanks very much, MP May. So now we can hand it over to MPP Mike Harris Jr. from Kitchener-Conestoga to deliver remarks on behalf of the Government of Ontario.
Well, thanks so much, Dane, and good morning, everybody. And listen, it's a real pleasure to be here as your neighbor in North Dumfries, but also, of course, on behalf of my colleague, the Minister of Infrastructure, Laurie and of course, the Greater Government of Ontario. Ontario is providing more than $437,000 in provincial funding to the improvement of outdoor recreation facilities here in the township. In North Dumfries, funding announced today will benefit 3 outdoor recreational projects, which MP May already highlighted: Victoria Park, Cowan Park, and Schmidt Park. Upgrades including creating new tennis courts at Schmidt Park, improving the condition of baseball fields in Victoria Park and Schmidt Park, and improving the washroom accessibility in all 3. These enhancements will support the growing demand for modern and accessible outdoor recreation facilities in North Dumfries. These projects will provide more recreational opportunities for all residents and future visitors to enjoy. Supporting cultural and recreational infrastructure projects like this one helps to make our communities stronger and more inclusive. And I'm delighted that the Township of North Dumfries will benefit from our joint investment here today. The Investing in Canada Infrastructure Project is providing up to $30 billion in total project funding for communities across Ontario over the next 10 years. This includes over $10.2 billion from the provincial government alone. Together, we're rebuilding the economy and creating healthy and safe communities across Ontario through our federal-provincial partnership. I would like to thank Mayor Foxton, the Mayor of North Dumfries. I see Councillor Gillespie on here as well, and everyone at the township for all the hard work that they've done over the last little while into planning for this. And of course, our federal partners for your contributions to these great infrastructure projects. So thank you so much for everybody that's here today.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much, MPP Harris. I guess we will now hand it over to Her Worship Mayor Sue Foxton of the Township of North Dumfries.
Thank you and good morning, and thank you all for attending today's virtual meeting. I also like to recognize Councillor Gillespie, not only a wonderful councillor in Ward 4, but also the chair of Recreation and Leisure Committee. So her and I will be smiling for the rest of the week from year to year and maybe even longer. Today we come together as three levels of government, as partners, federal, provincial, and municipal, acting in a coordinated fashion with the expressed desire to invest in the Township of North Dumfries, to improve the quality of life and access the services and programs of our residents. Over 1.3 million is being invested. I'll say it again. Over 1.3 million is being invested by the three levels of government, targeted at three local projects in the area of recreation and leisure. These grants awards represent a significant investment in our municipality. On behalf of the Township of North Dumfries Council, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank MP Brian May and MPP Mike Harris Jr., who are here with us today representing the governments of Canada and the provincial government respectively. We are fortunate to have strong, effective local representations in both Ottawa and at Queen's Park that recognize the important projects in their communities and their willingness to champion these causes. I'd like to recognize and thank federal and provincial partners in their investment in the creation projects that are being announced today in the Township of North Dumfries.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mayor Foxton. So that brings us to the end of our three main speakers today. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the media Q&A session. Just before we move on, I want to just mention to people towards the end of the meeting here today, we'd like to do a bit of a screenshot photo and share it, for social media and things like that. So if we have everyone's consent to do that towards the end, we can proceed. And we can move on to the media Q&A session. So if there's anyone who would object to something like that, please let me know. Irene, I see you have your hand raised there from the Air News. Would you like to make a comment or ask a question?
Yes, I do have a few questions. I heard that the mayor said it's a total investment of $1.3 million. Do we have a breakdown of the cost or the funding being provided by the three levels of government?
And who is that question for?
Whoever can answer it.
So Irene, if you can clarify, you want a breakdown of exactly what do you want?
How much is the federal government contributing? The provincial government, I heard is federal is contributing $525,000. I'd like the breakdown between federal, provincial, and
I've got it right here. So the federal government is doing $525,233. The provincial government is doing $437,567. And the township's portion will be $350,133.
Thank you. Is there a start date for the projects? And also, is there a priority?
I'm going to pick my brain of the CAO who's standing here. So design work is going to start now. Construction will start in the fall and finish up in the next year.
Is there a priority for the three projects?
Washrooms? the ball lights, and the tennis courts.
Okay, and you mentioned that all three will be completed by next year?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene. It looks like we don't have anyone else's hand raised there for the Q&A session there. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap that up if there are no more questions.
I just have one comment that I'd like to also acknowledge my staff, CEO McNeely and Director of Corporate Services, Shelley Stedall. They did an amazing job in following through with both levels of government to make sure they had good, accurate information to allow the grant process to go forward. So I'd like to thank them and thank Council for supporting these. And once again, MP Brian May, MPP Mike Harris Jr., thank you so much. Thank you for working with us. We are an amazing team.
Our pleasure, Mayor Sue.
Okay, wonderful.